Welcome to another episode of Arkansas Basketball Recap. Today we're recapping the Arkansas Razorbacks 79-72 win in the NCAA tournament over the Kansas Jayhawks. Man, we got Kansas number the last 3 years, apparently. I mean, Kansas got to hate Arkansas now. I mean,
I
we
know.
keep doing this. Uh, what a great day. It's all house money now, guys. It's all house money. I mean, 6 weeks ago, you would have said, "Dude, I'll take a win. Like, I'll take a win, and I'll take making the NCAA tournament. You give me a win, there it is." And it's not like a huge upset win, but it's an upset win. This is a 7-10 matchup. Arkansas finds a way to get it done. And I mean, can you talk about this game without the first thing you talking about is like Jonas, dude? You're the all week. You heard Hunter Dickinson though. Hunter Dickinson, 7-2, big monster. Up. It's gonna be like that's gonna be the whole thing. Jonas is like, hey, just so you know, I'm better than him. Like,
Yeah,
at
I
least I'm
mean,
at least I'm gonna be on that day.
Jonas was out of control that first half. Um, I mean, he was shooting like 17-foot push shots.
Yeah, dude.
like there's a couple of those where I was like, that is a deep floating push shot. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's one you might want to just spot up. But I mean, he's kind of got that. He was shooting them with confidence.
And
And
those things were net too. Just
mhm.
I mean, just dropping them in the like it wasn't like
Now,
rattling around and stuff. He's like, let me just drop these in.
Hunter, I will say he didn't play bad the first half. I mean, I'm not sure how many points he ended up with, but he did have several that of those shots that are the ones that he, kind of his prototypical little
Mhm.
7 foot over the shoulder, baby hook. And there was like three or four of those in the first half that were all over the rim. You know what I mean? Like they hit the backside and then rolled to the front side and then came off the other side. And so he could have had a slightly better game if a couple of those had dropped. But I mean, credit to Jonas and Brazil and those people for harassing him and bothering him and making him where, you know, they weren't net. So whenever it touches the rim, there's always you got a shot that it's not going in. And he just wasn't quite pure with those. And we got a little bit of fortuitous rolls on a couple of them. But um, I mean, this game was definitely a roller coaster of emotions, I think, for every Arkansas fan. I mean, it was like that first half. Now, I wasn't ecstatic about the defense as far as, I mean, even though it was one of those games where I didn't feel like the defense was bad, I just was looking at the score going, kind of don't want to give up
Yeah.
87 points this
Yeah.
game. You know what I mean? Even though everybody was just scoring at a high clip. But I'm like, I guess I don't mind giving up 87 if they're going to give up 100, which is what it looked like. And that first half was so fun because, like I said, it was one of those games where the scoring was was pretty at a pretty high clip, but it what didn't seem like it was because of bad defense. It just seemed like everybody was playing aggressive, and then people were hitting tough shots. I mean, like I said, Jonas. I mean, it's not like he was getting. We were working the ball around, and they were playing bad defense, and he was just getting dunks every time or like point blank layups. He was having to make some pretty difficult
They
shots, and
they
then
just
once in a
they just couldn't defend him on that pick and roll. Like and defend him by defend him, I just mean not that they weren't there, but he was just hot and they couldn't stop him from getting the ball on it. And in
Mhm.
that first half, if he got the ball, he scored. And it was just one of those things where it's like, man, you gotta figure out a way to not let him get the ball in the paint because if he gets the ball in the lane, like that's going in right now.
And then the Hogs refuse this season. They just absolutely will not beat someone by high teens or low 20s. Like they're just not going to blow out anyone. I mean, I was that first half, I was like, okay, we've got a double digit lead. Please do this again and have this game be a 20-point game with 10 minutes to go. So I just can not have a stroke over here. You know what I mean?
No,
And instead,
no.
it was
Instead,
exactly the opposite.
you're gonna be
They
down five.
refused to bury anyone. It's going to be anybody's game in the last minute. And, but the way they did it was even more frustrating. I mean, that not being able to, it wasn't just that they, because I mean, yeah, they could have shot him out of that zone. Maybe, Boogie hits a couple of those threes, Nelly hits a couple of those threes, maybe Brazil hits one of those. Then that zone looks like an idiotic thing to do. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you can't
Yeah.
run zone. We'll just knock down shots. But once we missed about 5 of those 3-pointers and they, whittled that lead down to 6 or whatever, then we started to look like we'd never even heard of a zone. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
guys weren't even cutting. Like
Yeah.
the 3 perimeter guys, I was, if they had done, are you in a, who's there?
It's just some housekeeping.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh. Dude, you got to lock that door and put a do not disturb sign on there.
I guess so. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, by the way, this is Dan.
I'm on the road.
This guy, we would have done this last night. He didn't get to watch this game until like midnight last night because he's doing events and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all his fault. I'm at work right now.
I know. I know.
So, um, but dude, that, I mean, you want to talk about getting mad, because not just that we're losing the lead, but the fact that then they're going down and they're passing the ball between 3 guys from the elbow to the top and over to the other elbow and then back and then like down in the triple threat position and then
Yeah.
look around. Okay, I'm not, and no, they weren't even cutting. They were just passing it back and forth for 20 seconds until panic started to set in. And I mean, they turned the ball over so many times during that and then took bad shots and just settled. And it was, I mean, I was going to be, I mean, if we just got completely imploded and collapsed just because we had apparently
Yeah.
no idea how to,
Yeah.
work against that zone, that was going to be
It
devastating.
was
And
gonna
it
suck.
almost happened.
It would suck to lose because, like, yeah, we were gonna win that game, but then they played zone, and you'd be like, oh, what? Like, you can't lose because someone plays zone. That's terrible. But they didn't. But they didn't. And they figured it out, and Jonas ended up being the zone buster too. They started getting the ball to Jonas in the high post, and that worked.
Well, and I'll say another thing. I mean, Brazil, the one thing that is a danger to happen, and we talk about this all the time, and this is it's the whole thing about momentum is, when you start hitting a few shots, everybody gets a little bounce in their step and they start just working a little bit harder, being a little bit quicker to the ball, seeing the court better. And the same thing happens the other way. When you start to get devastated, your mind gets clouded and you stop your
Yeah.
reaction time gets worse, because even, every hundredth of a second that you're just like feeling bad or thinking about a mistake or what you're going to do, like you're not paying attention, your reaction time starts to get a little worse. And Brazil was the one guy that during that implosion with like 4 minutes to go, they actually didn't result in although he got 2 putbacks. I mean, dude, he staved off. I mean, they still
Yeah.
ended up taking the
Yeah.
lead, but like those rebound putbacks that he got were essential. And then he had 2 other rebounds that he got and we didn't score on, but they still bled another 20 seconds off the
Yep.
shot clock, which is not nothing. You know what I mean? Like he was single-handedly in that last 4 minutes responsible for 2 putback layup rebounds and then 2 other rebounds that probably cost Kansas 45 to 50 seconds. I
Yep.
mean, he was huge with not letting the lethargic, crumbling offense affect his aggressiveness. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well,
And
Brazil goes for another double double, man. I mean, Brazil gets you 11 points, 12 boards, and I mean, Brazil played great. I mean, like his energy, he's still playing with that same energy. I mean, he's flying all around. I mean, just ripping rebounds out of the air, slapping at balls, like, and it's just, I think he's been awesome. I mean, so much so that you're like, dude, um, if he comes back, which he can. If he came back and was put together a whole season like that, yeah, you're going to be on draft boards probably, dude.
mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if he
mean,
will, but I like
and I think that's the way.
That Brazil I want back.
Well, that's the way he's going to have to do it too. In my opinion, we've talked about this before. I don't think Brazil is a like hyper intelligent basketball player, and that's not a knock. I mean, people just like he just doesn't like see the floor as well as some high level basketball
Yeah,
players, defensively or offensively. And I don't think he's quite quick enough to be a real offensive threat in the NBA. But if you can get rebounds, if you can be an effort defender and an effort rebounder with as athletic as he is, I think that's his only hope to play at the next level is to because he's a good enough shooter and he can improve on that and he can improve on his jump shot. I don't see him ever being a guy that can just dribble drive on NBA
Yeah.
defense, but
But
he can.
he's a guy you can throw an oop to though as well. He can rim run.
I think he's a guy that can come in and stay your big man or help and come in for, you know, 15 to 18 minutes a game, giving somebody some rest and just giving energy on defense and rebounds. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, you'll hit him in the corner and he'll knock down a couple of threes when you need
Yep.
him to.
Hit him
So,
on the back, hit him on the back cut, throw it at the rim. I mean, because the one thing about Trevin is he can still go get one if you throw
mm-hmm.
it up at the rim, right? Actually, I love it when Cal has a couple of plays where he comes out of timeouts that are designed alley oops to Brazil, where it's just like get Brazil loose and just throw it up at the rim and let him go get it.
Well, he tried to do that with, yeah, I mean, and that was actually a big play too, because that was, like I said, we needed every single freaking point at that point. We
Yeah,
were just starving for offense. He tried to do that same play basically with, um,
with Billy.
Billy and because Billy can get up there too. I mean, Billy can
Yeah,
probably jump as high as anybody. I mean, get to the same place, but man, that guy that looked like a bad fall, dude.
that's the that's the end of my night if that happens to me,
What did you
dude.
think of what did you think about that? I mean, not to get off but like about that block on Boogie that threw him into the floor because
It's a lot
dude,
of body. It's a lot of
I've
body,
never
man.
I if really all that matters is like, hey, once I get ball clean, nothing else matters. Dude, I can get some blocks. I can go up if I'm not worried about the half a second after I touch the ball, just mowing you down and throwing you out of bounds with my body, just an absolute truck collision.
Yeah,
I can get some blocks.
yeah.
Part of the reason I can't get to the ball is because I'm trying to avoid your body. If I
I
don't have
did.
to worry about your body after I get the ball,
Yeah.
I can just jump up there and grab the ball and just plow you.
Well,
I
I feel
didn't quite
well.
understand that.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that play a lot of times, and it's always a foul. I mean, it's not. I don't. It wasn't like something where it's like, oh, I've never seen that before. It's like, no, I've seen guys go to block guys and just blow them up, and like it's always a foul. I mean, I wasn't like livid about it or anything, but it was like almost just more confusing. You were like, oh, weird. Like that seems like a lot of body.
Dude, I've seen versions of it where the offensive guy is driving in on the defender who's protecting, and the guy goes up, and their bodies clash together, and then he gets the ball, and it's like, yeah, that's not a foul. Like, but this was Boogie was not moving out of bounds. Like he was moving in towards the basket for the layup. The other guy is hauling ass as fast as he can down the court, and all his momentum is causing the body contact.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? Like he's plowing him, and you can see him fly from the body contact out of bounds. That's not the same play. Like, I'm sorry, I know what people are talking about. That's not the both players are moving, and actually,
yeah,
probably the offensive player's momentum is causing a lot of the body contact, even if the
yeah,
defensive player is not completely set, but he gets the ball, and it's the offensive player's momentum that is causing at least 60% of the body contact. It's like, that's not what that was. That was the defensive player's aggressive momentum is causing 90% of that body contact, which is why the offensive player went flying out of bounds.
yeah.
So I just, yeah, I didn't agree with that one at all. I thought that was obviously a body contact foul.
I thought so too.
Dude, if
I
I
think,
did
and
that,
what?
if I hit somebody's body that hard, I'd be like, I got him on the body. Like I
Mhm,
would, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And I'm somebody who doesn't like, when the defender gets screwed. I mean, I like when they do a lot of no calls, but if you're running that hard in your body and you give them the contact, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's
Yeah,
what a
well,
body foul is.
the color commentator, they didn't elaborate on it, but when they replayed it, he goes, "Ooh, that's a lot of body." And you're like, "Yeah, dude, that's a lot of body, man." Like you could tell by like he wasn't selling that. There was like that's a lot of contact, man. He
Mm,
really hit the floor hard. So, well, speaking of Boogie, so he plays a little bit more than Cal. Cal said 15 minutes. He plays 24 minutes.
mm,
Um, I thought that it wasn't like he played incredible or something. He had 6 points. He did have 3 assists, 3 steals, 0 turnovers. which is pretty nice. I mean, so the 3 steals, 3 assists is pretty nice. Um, I thought Cal used him though perfectly because what he did is he still like DJ played 40 minutes in this game.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the things you were wondering with Boogie is if he comes back, does he come back and play point guard, or does he keep DJ a point guard? And he kept DJ a point guard, which is absolute was not because DJ is such a better point guard than Boogie or something, but that because you've been winning with DJ at point guard, um, and DJ becomes like not as effective when he's off the ball. Boogie can be more of a spot up shooter. And I thought that was exactly the right thing to do. Was that when you bring Boogie in, unless DJ's not on the floor for some reason, which never happened. Um, yeah, I think leaving DJ at point guard and letting Boogie kind of run around and try to get open and Boogie, to Boogie's credit, he really didn't force anything. He didn't look like he had um like, all right guys, I'm back. Let me try to like dominate this ball or anything like
No,
that.
I actually thought he could have shot a couple of more threes that were open. I'm glad he didn't during that one run because there was one place where it was like, okay, guys, I don't care how wide open it is, you have to go attack. We have to attack the basket. They're
Mhm.
begging us to shoot and give them long rebounds. And they, by the way, they were catching those long rebounds in that zone. They were catching it on the
Yeah.
move and hurt us a bunch of times getting back quickly. Um, uh, I thought Boogie's energy on defense was really good. I mean, that one time where he split through those two guys. I mean, kind of split, basically wedged himself between two guys and just attacked the ball. It's one of those plays I always talk about where it's like you probably have no chance to get that ball, especially if you're Boogie's body against the two guys he was going through.
Mhm.
But tried anyway, slithered through there, got smashed up, ended up knocking the ball to the floor, but it did go out of bounds on them. And it's like that saved a possession.
Yeah.
That's as good as a rebound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, it really is. And I liked his energy. I will say that was another reason that, and I may be off here. I do have a feeling. I got the feeling. I might be totally off, but that Billy Richmond was maybe a little bit annoyed that Boogie was mostly looked like taking his minutes. And uh,
I don't know if that I mean Richmond played 19 minutes in this game. That's about what he does. I think most of Boogie's minutes, I mean Knox played 16 minutes in this game. I think Boogie took more I mean the
yeah,
numbers would
that's
say that he took more minutes from Knox than Billy.
yeah, I guess maybe that's true. I mean, different position. So I mean,
Yeah.
he obviously wasn't coming
Well, we
in.
went
I mean,
small. I mean, because I mean, Z only played 4 minutes in this game. There was a time where we had it was like DJ. It was like DJ Jonas, Nelly, Boogie, and Billy out there, and like
mm,
we had no four, and because I think it was when
well,
uh
they went small for a little bit too.
they did, and I think it was when Brazil was in foul trouble, and you got
Mm-hmm.
that it's like a foul, and you were like you thought like, oh, maybe Z's gonna come out here, and he's like, nope, he's not
Yeah,
gonna come out here.
I might be wrong about that. Billy did just looked a little bit less smiley, or I mean, not that he smiles, but like he seemed a little bit. I saw him argue a few times with some guys. He seemed a little bit annoyed. He took a couple of threes that seemed a little bit like hero ball threes. Like, I mean, I know he made a couple in the last few
Yeah,
games, so maybe he was just taking them, but they seemed a little bit like they were early and not like the ones where it's like, hey, I mean, this is as good a shot as any.
yeah.
Seemed like a little bit like maybe you should pass it one more time. I might be wrong about that. Might be reading into it, but it did seem um, but I was happy with Boogie's. I mean, because Billy Richmond, that's the one thing he gives you is the energy and the effort on the rebounds. But I felt like Boogie gave us the same thing. So um, I would have it would have been awesome if he had. I mean, it's weird that we shot the three so much better in the first half. Uh,
Yeah, we
I
shot 25. We
almost was
shot
in that zone was
25%.
I was almost like, should we put Connor in that zone because he's so tall
You
he
mean you
could
mean you mean Z? No.
Connor. Okay, yeah, Z in there, and and also he can shoot
Uh-huh.
threes so good. You know what I mean? Maybe they'd have to come out a little bit, but anyway, all's well that ends well. And dude, I couldn't be more pumped about. I mean, again, we said this last time. gonna be devastated if we didn't win, which is weird because we were the underdog. But man, I mean, you just gotta win for one game at least.
Yeah.
And now I do feel like I won't feel as bad, but dude, I can taste the Sweet 16 in its aptly named because it would be sweet. It would taste so good to get there. And I mean, some of it will depend on what happens with other teams and stuff, but I once we get to the Sweet 16, I really will just be like, I don't care. This one, I mean, I know we're gonna want you want everyone, so each one's you're gonna keep saying that, but I already do feel like okay, it's not the season for what it was pretty good, but winning one game, it'll be like this season will just be a nothing kind of. It'll be forgotten. It'll be like a building season in Cal's first year here, and it'll be like, yeah, man, that was a struggle, but ended up they did okay in the end. If he wins one more game, dude, it turns that completely into wow, I can't believe how this season turned out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well,
Like,
and the nice thing about it, dude, is like I like this team. This team, like, how can you not? Like like they went through it. They dug deep. Um, the lack of egos on this team, at least, I mean, I'm sure they have egos, but like it doesn't show up, and they really do seem like they are like rooting for each other. Like they want. I mean, if you there's a clip out there you can see it. Boogie talking about Jonas, and like you can tell, like he's like saying he's like, "Oh my God, dude!" Like so, like I'm so happy for him. Like and like he was like talking about how awesome he was and stuff, and you could tell like because the way that they did this was like learning how to like play for real hard, and uh and play for each other, right? And I don't think it's a bunch of guys trying to get theirs. I think they're like, man, whatever it takes to win. And Jonas said the same thing. They like after the game, they said, hey, can you repeat that? And he basically said like, I don't have to. And he's like, maybe, or maybe it's Nelly, or maybe it's TB, or maybe it's Carter, or maybe it's DJ. And he's like, any one of us can do that. Uh, so he's like, hey, I mean, and which is true. Like you have all these guys, and so as a fan of Arkansas, I think this has turned into a pretty likable team where you can like the guys on this team. Like there's who is unlikable on this? Who do you say like, oh, I just don't like he's on my team, but like, dude, that guy's a head case or whatever. Like, there's none of that. Like you're like, no, all these guys. I mean, Jonas, dude, like this wasn't how he wanted this year to go, and like he's never seemed like he's done anything but like do what's asked and like work hard and try to get there. And so good for him, man. Like it's he's always smiling. Like these guys are all high fiving, And so I like it. I think it's an easy team to root for.
did I manage to mute that sneeze
Yeah, you did.
properly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I agree. There isn't. I mean, there's times where, and sometimes it's fun to have a kind of a jerk on your team if he's your jerk. You know what I mean? Because you get to watch him bug other teams' players and stuff. I mean, I think Qualls was a little bit that way.
Hmm.
Battle at times could have been that way. You know what I mean? Guys that just have a little bit of an attitude. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you think about playing against these guys, there's no like these guys don't really get into it and don't seem to have a bad attitude. They, I mean, we've talked. I can't remember exactly who it was in the past, but like a lot, there were times in the past where, you know, you see a guy and you're like, man, that guy kind of, our guy kind of shoved that guy in the back unnecessarily, or maybe that threw that elbow a little high. Like we've had a few players where you're like, yeesh, if I was playing against them, I'd be upset about that. You know what I mean? But these guys, yeah, you don't really feel that way. They seem pretty, and maybe that's a reflection of Cal, or maybe it's a reflection of just the players. But I agree, loving it, and
Yeah,
can't
I
wait for
just like
tomorrow,
how
dude. That's one thing I love it.
well, I just like how like happy they are for each other. Like, and I think you can tell when that's genuine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when Jonas is having like a career first half, you could tell that they're like my guy. Like
Well, and big,
my
yeah,
guy's tearing it up.
and Big Z has, like I said, he's had a roller coaster of a season there where he was like, barely playing and then kind of the man. And then now he's not getting as many minutes. And you can see him, he's up cheering and high fiving and yelling for them. And the same thing with Boogie. I mean, he definitely could have been a little bit. yeah, I mean, as a basketball player, it's impossible to not have to fight the feeling of if you are not doing well and then you get taken out and then having your team start to have success to not kind of be like, oh man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is not a good reflection on me. Even if it has nothing, even though like that's not really the way basketball works, but just to feel like, man, I'd almost rather like us do worse when I'm not playing, sort of. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he's been cheering on the sideline vigorously the whole time he's been hurt and stuff. So, yeah, good on him. Well, I need to go back to work, but
Yep.
dude, one thing I love about the tournament is you don't have to wait long.
Nope.
Quick turnaround,
Happening
be sitting
tomorrow.
there tomorrow. So,
Yeah, in the afternoon. I'll be
yep.
I'm gonna be watching these games in crazy ways. So tomorrow I'll be driving to Tucson, to New Mexico and then Tucson. And so at a certain point in the trip, I'm gonna be like, wife, you're driving, and then I'll be watching the game on the road. Let's just hope I'm driving through somewhere that has some reception. So
That could be bad if you're driving to Tucson. You're driving through New Mexico. You might have some spotty
yeah, we'll see what
stuff.
happens. I'm gonna be trying to watch it on the road.
So,
So
so what time are you getting to wherever you're stopping? Like, when are we going to be potting then?
Oh, I don't know. Like I'll have to figure out what time I actually end up leaving and stuff. So
Sometime tomorrow evening, though.
yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right.
So all right.
Well, dude, if they can just do it one more, come on, St. John's, play a bad defensive game for us, or we just need to be clicking and have a bunch of shots go in
They're
because
they're they're pretty good on defense, that old St. John's, man. They're pretty legit on the defense. So we'll see. Oh, Cal versus Slick Rick, baby. Let's
mm-hmm.
go.
All right.
Hey, you already took down one Hall of Fame coach. Take down another. Yeah.
That's right.
So all right, bro. We'll see
All
you.
right, dude. I'll see you. See you guys.